welcome to another episode of Be Great on Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I am super excited to be here with my co-host today, Dr. Carolyn Bob Green, who is also our lead sponsor of this amazing podcast where we bring amazing topics, guests, and just sharing the leadership mindset as entrepreneurs. And how are you feeling today, Dr. Carolyn?
I am so excited. I think I'm even more excited about our topic today.
Yes. Today we'll be talking about time management and productivity hacks and how to be great in your space with these tools that we're about to equip you with. Tell us a little bit first, Dr. Carolyn, how important is time management and productivity for entrepreneurs?
Well, in order to be great in your business, you can't be overwhelmed. And so a lot of times overwhelmingness comes from just allowing things to kind of just like pile up on your plate and not really addressing and taking care of them. And if you're not careful, that will weigh you down so much that you cannot overflow and pour into people's life. So as an entrepreneur, if your time is not together, your money won't be together. And then you'll start to feel the pressure of life just settling in. And as you know, most entrepreneurs give up in the first 5 years just because of lack of consistency, time management, and feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, and preparation, right? Or having a clear vision of what it is that you're trying to bring to the world. So I love all of those things. So we're going to jump right into it because we want to give you the tea on
Yes.
this. So Carolyn, I'll have you start off first. What is your first time management productivity hack for our listeners this morning?
So I know you like acronyms too, LOL, ladies of leadership, but I love acronyms as well. And so what the acronym that I want to give you guys today, and we'll bounce back and forward, is focus. FOCUS, focus. And so each one of the letters stands for something that will help you to stay focused in your business. And we all know that if you're not focused, you will lose track of everything. Like Nikki said, you have to have a vision of where you're going and you have to map it out in order for you to be able to execute. So the F in focus is to stay clear. Make sure that your mind is clear. So I encourage people all the time when they first start their business to do something called a brain dump. I know you guys have heard it before, or a brain download, where you get everything out of your mind onto paper, because once it gets onto paper, you can see it. And a lot of times when things are just like in our head, we can't breathe. We don't know where to start. We don't know what to do. But when we take it and we pour it out and we look at it, a lot of times we can kind of process exactly what's going on. So the F in focus is to focus, to clear your mind, do a brain dump at the very beginning, even if you are already into your business, right? You're right now and you're like, Carolyn, I don't know what to do. The first thing that I do is tell you to take a deep breath, get a pen and paper, and then just start writing. Just start writing down everything that you've thought of, everything that's in your heart, everything that you want to do. Because when you write it down, you can clearly make a plan to make it happen. And what I find is a lot of stuff is just like one-off things. And it's like, check your email or make a phone call or do this. And that list starts to get smaller and smaller. And then your overwhelming feeling will start to decrease because now you have an action plan in front of you. So I need for you guys to get focused, and you have to start it off with being clear and your mind being free to be able to receive new things and to be able to process exactly what your next steps will be.
Yes, beautiful. And I love the whole brain dump. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, right? We're just writing a whole bunch of gibberish, and they're just instant thoughts about a particular topic or where you want to go with what you're looking for, which kind of starts to make sense after the brain dump is done. Now you can put the pieces together. I love that. Thank you so much. So my first time management hack is that I want you to be grounded. We need to start with purposeful planning.
Yeah.
A plan without a purpose is just really a to-do list. So, in this, I'm going to share a few things. You need to create a power hour. I want you to dedicate 60 minutes of your day to intentional planning. This could include that brain dump. This could include just, again, reflecting on every certification you have, every type of tool you already have in your toolkit, and bring them together. And then you want to focus on, there we go, focus again. You want to focus on the top three priorities for your day, those tasks that are directly aligned with your goals. How do you do that? You want to use time blocking. You can use literally a calendar. There's this new thing that I just found called Keep from Google, which is actually a to do list that you can create for yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to end your day with 5 minutes of reflection. Before closing your day, you want to see what went well, what needs more attention, and what you can push off to tomorrow. And give yourself grace when you can't check those things off. You know, there's other external factors that happen throughout the day. You know, you build your schedule, but sometimes your kids, your parents, your significant other can alter that. But if you're well prepared and planned, you can fit all those things in with time blocking. So start with purposeful planning.
Wow. I'm like, Nikki, get out of my notes. Goodness gracious. And stop jumping ahead. Like, you're going ahead into my training. You know what I'm saying? I love it when we say things and it's totally aligned. And she talked about the power hour. And I do something every day called Tiger Time. And when I get into my Tiger Time, I do not want anybody like talking to me, or everybody knows she has closed off. This is her Tiger Time. And I'll tell you guys a little bit more about Tiger Time coming up. But you are so correct. If you do not have a clear purpose, um, you are just aimlessly doing things, and you see a lot of people in their business that they are busy but they're not productive. And that is one of the things, like, what are you doing? I'm real busy, but are you getting results? Are you seeing the fruits of your labor? And if you're not seeing any fruit and you're just planting a whole bunch of, just doing a whole bunch of things and nothing has sprouted as of yet, then you have to ask yourself, is your plans really purposeful? So you kind of got into it, but the O in my focus is going to be organize, sort tasks out using different tools. You mentioned Keep. If you use Google Business, right inside of your Google Calendar, they now have a task section so that you not only can block off time to work, but you can create tasks. One of my things that I've been using for so many years and have helped me so much is a tool called Asana, and that's ASAANA. And inside of Asana, what happens is that you're able to do that brain dump that I talked about in focus, and then move them around into categories so that it's not just another check off list, but they are like buckets now. Another tool that is, up and coming, and we've been using that for like our SOPs, a lot of our workflows, is ClickUp. So if you are not using some type of technology to take your list and put it into, I would really encourage that, because what happens is that inside of my Asana, I can put due dates. It links to my Google Calendar. So when I'm on the go, those to do things kind of pop up. I'm able to kind of sort things into buckets and into days. And as you know, as a business owner, in the very beginning, we wear a lot of hats, so many hats, that it just becomes like routine. But then when you bring on a staff, and I believe that everyone that's watching this podcast, your business is going to grow and you're going to go into overflow. And if you're not organized in your thoughts and your ways, when you bring in people, that is going to continue amongst your team. So using tools like Asana to create your SOPs, using Loom, using Scribe to create these different things will kind of help you. Always say, I only do things one time. And when I do it that one time, I take note, I organize it so that whoever comes on my team can pick up where I left off. So the O in this focus is, guys, you have to get organized in your business. You have to sort, and you have to use more than just pen and paper, because pen and paper, you get that list and then it just stay a list, and then it collects dust and it doesn't turn into action. And I always say, if it makes it on my calendar, oh, it's gonna get done. It's gonna happen. And a lot of what we do this brain dumping process. Every Sunday we sit down and say, okay, what things did we not get done? What things are going to have to go into next week, next month? What things can we address now? What things can we? But it will not happen unless we get those tasks down and organize them in a way that we can create a workflow.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, technology is key. There's so many free resources out there and some very low cost. I've never heard, I think we've talked about Asana before, but I've never heard of ClickUp, Loom, or Scribe. So great tools. Definitely check them out. Let's get organized. I'm really old fashioned. I have a spreadsheet. A to-do list, in Excel. Maybe because I have the love for it, being certified in Microsoft back in 2004. And I just kept it. It's as easy as possible. It's right in my Google Drive. I can, my executive manager has access to it. We put due dates, we put data validations where if we start it, we can actually get a drop down. This is started. What's the due date? And then we actually put the actual completed date, because it also tells us a story of, when you had this idea, when you wanted it done, and when you actually got it done. Did it take longer than usual? Well, what were the outside factors of that? Was it just procrastination, anxiety, and just things? But I love all of that. And the fact that when things don't get done and they're not priority, I put them on a parking lot. That's what I call it. They're on a parking lot. They still mean something, but we can get it done later. It doesn't have to happen now. So stay organized. I love that. My second piece is be resilient. I want you to master the art of saying no. Every yes to something is a no to something else. And we need to understand that. So we also, to be productive, we need to set those clear boundaries. We need to protect our focus time, going back to focus, by limiting distractions, turning off unnecessary notifications. I love Do Not Disturb all the time.
Yeah.
And then
people get on to me, like my phone usually stays on do not disturb, and a lot of times, like, I had to actually bring in somebody to like answer my messages, and it's so funny. Out multiple messages that go out, and somebody be like, "Did you just answer me again on there?" I'm like, "Listen, let me just tell you." Do not disturb has to be in my life, and sometimes I don't see things and I don't want people to like have to wait on my reply. And so like I literally have someone that like kind of has the same notifications that I have, and I'm like, if I don't answer within a certain time, make sure you go in and answer this person with a blanket answer or what you know about this. Because man, if we are constantly distracted, like you said, oh my goodness, we will be like a squirrel, like here, there, like, let me grab. I'm so happy you brought that up. Yes. I used to be a squirrel back in the day.
Yeah, like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Let me try this. But we want you to also adopt the 80-20 rule, which focuses on 20% of tasks that yield 80% of the results. So you want to prioritize impact over busy work. That's something that you said. So saying no is actually a strategy. And if you request or opportunity doesn't align with your vision or your immediate goal right now, you can politely decline. No one needs to know what the reasons are behind it. Sometimes we give everybody our business. Oh, we can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. It just doesn't align with your mission, and that's okay. I'd rather you give a true, authentic, honest no than give a fake yes. Because that's just not cool, right? So the tip is to practice saying, let me get back to you. Very simple. to buy time to evaluate if something is worth your energy. That is okay to do. Let me get back to you. Let me think about it. You don't have to, again, give any excuses. So just stay resilient and master the art of saying no.
Yeah. I mean, that people take that as being stripped away their power. Like they don't have power when they say no, or they're defeated when they say no. And actually, the more no's that you give, if they are truly deserved no's, you will get your strength back. And that overwhelming feeling will go away. It used to be, it used to, at one point, it was hard for me to say no. And then it became really easy for me to say no. Then I had to check my nose because I was like, girl, why do you say no to everything? Like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not. And so I had to kind of recalibrate and start saying, like, okay, Carol, you can give a little bit of leeway, because what starts to happen is that when you are too free with your time, you give people permission to control your life. And whenever I see situations that are just like really trying to control, I am the first to roll back and say, hey, like, let's look at this. This is not going to work. We need to reevaluate. Or if it's not working for you, it's not working for me, then maybe we need to just like pause for a second until later. And I always say a no is not, don't think that my no is forever no. It's just no right now. So sometimes I tell people, if you get a no and you feel like there's some type of connection, that no right now may be like just not right this second, maybe later. And so if it's something that you want to nurture in another season or in another month, just say, right now the answer is no, but this is not a forever no. This is just not right now. Let's stay connected. Let's follow up with each other so that we can continue to build a relationship, so that we can enter into this. So I love that. No, 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 no. Like 2-year-olds, like some of us need to turn back into our 2-year-old stage and start using no. All right, so like we did the F, the O, and the C. Like create a plan is going to be C. You kind of talked about time blocking a few minutes ago and prioritizing. So in this workshop that I do, Overwhelm to Overflow, I talk about like hourly planning. I am like obsessed with it. The reason why is because I believe that I should be able to control my time, and when I control my time, I control my life and I control my situations. And so from the time that I wake up, I have this hourly schedule, and the hourly schedule doesn't tell me exactly, the details of what I'm doing, but that time is blocked out from my co-working early morning time, wake up, from my morning routine to, okay, I have these one-on-one coaching calls, I have these group trainings, I have these community events I have to be in, and every hour is blocked off so that I know exactly what I am doing in that hour and that time. Then if it is like, project time or task time, that is when I go into my Asana to see what on the list I should be doing during that time. There have been times that I have sat down and it's like my tiger time, and I'm just looking at the computer. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, you have stuff to do, but you don't know what to do right now. And you kind of like that whole hour will go by, and then you'll just find something to do. And so what I do is when I sit down at the computer, I go over and I say, okay, what is it that I said that I was going to get done today during this time? And it kind of get me back on track. Even in co-working, I'll say, okay, guys, what are you working on today? Put it in a chat. And then I'll have people be like, go to your planner, and they'll go get their planner, like, this is what I said I was going to get done this week. And then it kind of refocus them to make sure that they're getting the things on their list done. So hourly planning, time blocking, making sure you know what you are doing in that time block time, creating this workflow every day. I also like to tell people the difference between like routine tasks and projects. So every day you should have a routine. Like I have my morning routine, I have my midday routine, and I have my evening routine. Like routines are things that you do every single day as a cycle. It is not something on a to-do list. It's like your brain is just built. And if you want to build routine in your life, I always tell people take 90 days to do that. 30 days of getting used to it, 30 days of practice, and 30 days of building strength and consistency. So if you do something for 90 days, most likely you will continue to do it as a pattern, as opposed to if you do it for 30 days, then stop, and then you have to start it all over again. Anytime within the 90-day cycle, if you stop for one day, you might as well count it as starting over again. Just like us going to the gym, we're consistent. The one time that you stop for one day, you can just say, I'm starting over, because now you're giving yourself an excuse to break the cycle. Then when we talk about projects are multiple tasks that are within a category. So sometimes you'll put on your to-do list something that has like 5 or 6 steps. That's a project. You are not going to get a project done in 45 minutes or an hour. Those are things that takes multiple hours or multiple days. And our time expectations sometimes are like unrealistic. We're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to create this ebook. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to do all of this today. No, you're not. And when you look at it, you're going to be so like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? So think about what projects you have, break it down into tasks, and then spread those tasks out over a couple of days. A task is something that takes no more than 2 steps, or sometimes a third step if it's like really easy. So a task is like checking an email. A task is like typing out a document. A task could be like researching something. A task could be like getting content for something. And a lot of times we put projects on our to-do list instead of taking that project and breaking it down into steps and then creating tasks so that it is bite-sized, so that we can digest it and eat it. So when you are time blocking and you're prioritizing, ask yourself, are you trying to complete a project in that time? Or do you have a group of tasks that you can check off and get done that may be a part of that bigger project? So creating a plan is so important. We don't get on the road and just say, okay, I'm going to just drive, like some people may do, but not when you have a destination. When you have a destination, you usually plan it out, you map it out, you know when you're going to stop, you know when you're going to grab food, you know how long it's going to take to get there, all of those details. But yet we don't do that in our business. And so you have to not only do that for your business, but you have to do that for your life. Create your consistent daily, hourly routine so that you have a really good flow, and just watch. If you just commit to that for the next 90 days, just watch how your life just transform and you go from being overwhelmed to actually executing and being consistent.
Oh my God, so amazing. And you're just gonna continue to freak out every time I bring one up. But I'll wait on that. I do want to comment, create a plan. I love that calendars have the reoccurring option, right? So that is key when you're creating that, when you're putting those tasks. Um, let's go back. Your routines, actually, if you know that you have consistent meetings over and over, those need to be time blocked, and you have to work around that or fit your schedule. I always say Sundays are the great days to kind of plan your week out. So you're creating your plan ahead of time, or even the night before. Always go back, look at your schedule so that you're prepared for the next day if you have to shift anything in your routine. So spot on. I love it. So this is being efficient, right? We want to leverage for those micro tasks, the micro wins for big results. We need to leverage that. And small steps daily create massive momentum. Once you get that momentum, it's really hard for you to kind of hold back. You're in this routine for 90 days. You're making things happen. It's just you'll see the biggest difference. So the first rule is the 10-minute rule. If you're struggling with procrastination, commit to working on some type of task for just 10 minutes, often starting at the hardest part of it, and then the momentum would carry you forward. If we cannot, at the beginning of starting this, if we cannot get things done in 10 minutes, how are we going to get things done in 30, in an hour, right? So commit to the micro tasks, and it makes all of a difference. And set your timer. Once it's done, no matter how far you got in that task, you just let it go and be okay with it and get to it. If you're on a row and you don't have anything really booked after and you can keep flowing, I'll suggest that. But if you are like on a tight schedule, but you want to make sure that you start committing to at least a 10-minute rule at first, um, definitely do that and walk away once you're done with those things. You want to batch some of your similar tasks together. You want to group tasks that require the same energy, like emailing, content creation, your phone calls, tackle them in one focused block to reduce the switching, the continuing switching of, your mind. And then you want to automate and delegate within that. Identify the reoccurring tasks we talked about that can automate or hand off those things that someone else can get done, that have a little bit more time, and use tools like your Calendly, your booking schedule, Canva templates for all type of your content creations. And the great is I love in Canva is the duplicate button, the duplicate, because if you know that you're going to use the same template and you're just going to switch some quotes around or different things for your content that you do, use the duplicate button, but celebrate all the small wins, acknowledge your progress, keep motivating that high energy that's just flowing in that time. So that's, yeah, leverage micro wins for big results and you'll see the difference.
Love it. Love it. And like I said, I love it when we flow and it flows right into the next thing. And so the you. This is gonna freak you out,
Give
Nikki.
it to me.
The you and focus is utilize automations. Workflow. So one of the things that I talk about all the time, and people are like, yeah, I know, I do not believe in sending out things manually. Like, I create workflows that are automatic so that once a person commits to something, they go through a flow. And I do that, I spend the time to do it up front so that I gain my time back over time, and throughout my day, throughout my week, throughout my year. So, like she said, automating things, even on your Google Calendar, like making sure that those reoccurring events stay there until the end of it, or when it's going to end, cut it off. That way you can see it. Even your calendar. I always tell people, I don't set up meetings without my booking link. Unless we're in a meeting and having a discussion and I pull out my phone or I pull up my Google Calendar and put it in there, I require them to book with me through my booking system. Number one, so that it can go straight onto my calendar and I know it won't get displaced or put on the wrong day. Also, so that they can get reminders that we have this meeting. I don't have to text them, I don't have to call them. It is like automated, like, hey, you have a meeting with Carolyn in 15 minutes. I start sending out text message and an email automatically. So you want to get your business into a flow where you have these automations already happening. I even talk about, the use of Asana and using things like Zapier, where I can connect tasks to my calendar so that when I click one button, it automatically goes on my calendar through my brain dumping process. And so where in your life can you create automations? Is it in your selling process? Is it in your one-on-one call process? Even when someone books a one-on-one call for me, no matter what that conversation was like, they automatically get tagged for them to go into a sequence to follow up with them. Thank you so much for the call. And the only thing that I have to do that is automated is basically send them out any type of customizations that may happen. But I don't have to do that the same day because they are going to automatically get an email after our call saying, thank you so much for that call, depend on why they booked me. So if they booked me for a consultation, they're going to go ahead and go through that consultation automation. If they booked me to to book a class or book a workshop, they booked on that calendar. They're going to go through that automation process. And so I try my best not to repeat things over and over. And a lot of us in our workflow are manually typing out things, manually creating things, manually doing this every single time. And it's like, what if you get 500 people to ask you for something? What are you going to do? Send out 500 emails? Are you going to reply to 500 people? So automations, using Zapier, using systems like Kartra or ClickFunnels to be able to automate things, even Calendarly, creating those automations in there. Mini chat, especially if you're using a lot of social media and you need to automate replies or automate registration. Where in your life can you utilize automations to get some of your time back? You need the time to be able to work on your business and not always in your business. If you're always having to send emails, do this, do that, you are constantly working in your business and you never get a chance to step back and say, hey, how can I help my business grow? How can I better market it? How can I analyze or hire or be in multiple places at one time? The only way you're going to be able to do that is through automations process. So what is your workflow like? Is it overwhelming you? Is it making you feel like, oh my God, if I type this letter one more time? Even in Google, you can create templates.
Yeah.
If you're using Google for business, you can create templates. At least that email is there. All you have to do is insert template and then change the name and maybe pricing and information. At least use that as a way to create some type of automations. And so, just really, really take some time in your business to research what's going to work with you and connect with somebody who can give you ideas of what you can do, because it's just time out for us doing things manually. It is time to create systems and workflows to get our time back so that we can spend time with our family, our friends, and do the things that we love and not the tedious things that make us feel overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And what I love about automations is you only have to create it once, right? You
Hmm.
put it out there once and then obviously update as your business grows, as the different offers you have are available. What I love about automations and CRMs that have those booking options is that they actually build your email system too.
Hmm.
They build your email list. Now you can do bulk emails at once. You know, that she talked about tags. You could tag them for different things. Are we here? Okay. I think
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, we are good to go. Awesome. So thank you so much for that. Super amazing. So my fourth give back for being great is be intentional. I want you to align your energy with your schedule. Time management isn't just about the clock, it's about managing your energy. I know that when I wake up in the morning, I am ready, I am rocking it. And then by the time about 1 or 2 o'clock, that's about nap time. I don't want
Oh
to
my
do
God, I was just saying that. Like that 2 to 3 o'clock hour, it's like, give me about 6 cups of coffee. I'll go get in the car. And like a lot of my clients, that's when I like try to like drift off. And you're like, are you sleeping in your car? Yes, I'm rebooting. I need 15 minutes. That's my B12 shot. I just need to go sit in the car and close my eyes for 15 minutes.
Yes, those power naps definitely do a big difference. So time management again isn't about the clock, it's about matching your energy. So you want to identify your peak productivity hours. You only know that because you are going through your day. You know what what your routines are, right? When are you the most productive? So that's so important to make sure that you are identifying this. So are you a morning person or a night owl? I know people that are up to like 2 in the morning and that's when they're like flowing while I'm in like my third to fifth dream, right? So you want to schedule the most critical tasks during the times when your energy can focus at your highest self. So you want to use the focus flow flex method. So focus time is 2 to 3 hours of deep work and high priority tasks. The flow time is the task that feels natural or creative, like the brainstorming, the content creation. And then your flex time is your low energy tasks, like emails, admin work, just casual meetings. And then you want to incorporate a recharge break. Recharge break. Use techniques like um, the Oh my God, this is amazing. Like the Pomodoro technique, which is
Mhm.
25 minutes
Pomodoro.
work, yes,
Yeah.
and 5-minute break to avoid burnout. That's how I actually wrote my first book. I would go for about 30 minutes and I'll walk away, do something else, and then I'll come back to it another 30 minutes and just keep flowing. I didn't actually read my book until and I did them by sections, each chapter, probably a couple paragraphs, and just walked away. And when I read the whole book all together, I'm like, wow, I put this together, me, my first time. Like, this is crazy. But I use that method because it just helps so well to keep me on track. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel burnout. I didn't feel like it wasn't a fun process, because sometimes we do things so compound that then we're just not liking what it comes out, and then we're so critical, right, of all the stuff, so
Mhm.
we're always kind of recreating or saying scratch this out, and we're not really putting the time. So definitely use those techniques to create your, and just know where your energy lies in the time of the day. That's going to help you immensely.
And that energy came across in your book, and it was one of the reasons why I could like sit and read it, because that flow was in there. It was like bite size, and you can take a break and then you can come back and read. So that energy even came across in the book, and it was easy for me to read, because a lot of times it feel like someone sat for like 5 hours and wrote a chapter, and it feels that way in the reading, like it goes on and on and on and on and on, as opposed to it being like, okay, digest this, take a break, come back to this. And so that was one of the things that I enjoyed, like reading your book on the plane. And I think it was right before an event, I was like, this is really good, I like the way it flows. And you can tell that's the energy that you use when you created it, because that's how I felt when I read it. And I'm not a fan of, like, these days, I used to read a lot of books, like hard books, but now I'm a audiobook girl, and I'm like, I will go through like 4 to 5 books in a week. Like, I am constantly like listening when I'm working. And so for me to like actually focus and sit down and read the book, I was like, oh, this is a good flow. So you could tell that energy came across in your book as well. So I love all the methods that you talk about, like work and then break, work and then break, work and then break. And that is a part of creating your workflow. And so the S, my S in focus, remember we talked about you got to focus on being focused first, focus, organize, create, and then utilize automations, is strategize. And that kind of just like ties into what you're saying. But a part of optimizing your productivity is also delegating as well, knowing when you are capable of doing something and when you need to delegate it. And a lot of times there are tasks that you don't feel like you have anyone to delegate to, so you have to open up your circle and start asking. I know I deal with a lot of our tech stuff, and at first I was like, oh, I need to find somebody to delegate that to. And then I tried that, and it was like, no, because I was doing more work critiquing and going through, because that's like my cup of tea. And then I had to sit back and say, okay, do I want to delegate this because someone told me I should, or because I actually want to? And the answer to that was no, you really don't want to delegate that. But there's things that you are spending time doing that you do not like doing and you do not want to do. So you need to get that off of your plate. And so that's when I started utilizing, some of my staff that I had at my school and bringing them over into the business. I started using, people that were in my circle, like, hey, I need you to take care of this, I need you to take care of that. And then that way I could focus on the things that really would help my business grow and develop. So you have to look at your list and look at your hours in a day and strategize and optimize what you have. And the only way you're going to optimize is if you figure out your workflow, and then you start to delegate things that do not serve the purpose of growing the business without your direct impact. Like, I knew, like, our branding process that we went through last year and earlier this year, I felt like I was going to, like, you know because I have the background in design and element, I was like, if I say this one more time, and I knew that I could not delegate that process to anyone else. So what I started to do is go through things and say, you know what, since I have to put so much energy into this, I am going to have to shift some of these tasks over to individuals, have them watch the Loom videos, have them watch the Scribe SOPs to kind of pick up and help me with those things, because I need to put my energy and my time and optimize my productivity by focusing on this, because we knew we had to get that done. I had a deadline for it, and the only way it was going to happen is by me strategically planning for that to be a part of our workflow. So what are some things you're holding on to that you don't need to? It could be
Mhm.
something simple, like very simple. If you have younger kids or teenagers or whatever it may be, and you're looking to pay them, a little bit more, like instead of giving them allowances, give them a paycheck. Like, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z for me, and then I'm going to pay you this amount for getting those things done. Not just like house chores, but maybe some things that are in your business. That is how we even grew my girls since they were like 12, 13 years old, even younger. I would take them to the workshops. They would set up, they would unpack, they would repack, they would go and serve food. And so I incorporated them into the business, and then I paid them. I paid them for their time, because anywhere else that they go, they were going to get offered. And I never wanted them to feel like, you know what, I have to leave the business because I need cash in my pocket. I let them be a part of it and be a part of the success as we began to grow. So strategize and really think about who you can use to delegate, review your workflow continuously, and then you definitely want to figure out how you can better optimize your productivity. Like Nikki said, finding out when you work best. I am a early morning and a late night person. So it's weird because you're like, girl, go to bed because you're going to get up at 5 o'clock. And it's like, all I need is like about 3 hours of sleep. But around that 2 o'clock frame, 3 o'clock, I may go to sleep from 3 to 5 and get back up, because the second part of my day starts about 5 o'clock. And then that reboots me and energizes me and helps me to keep going. And so I notice on my schedule, I try not to book very many things between that 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock hour, because I know that is a time that I need to either, do something that's really light, things that are low energy, start to wind down and relax, because I know when that 5 o'clock hour hit, show on again. So 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I have to be like live and talking to people. So I need that time to kind of recalibrate. So I make sure not to schedule like live. If I can help it, I do not schedule any live things between the hours of 3 and 5, because I know my energy is going to be lower, because I'm rebuilding for the afternoon run from the morning run.
Yep. Oh my God. We are so in sync because I literally, like my booking calendar, you can only do the morning from 9 to 2. That's what I have, right? So my last meeting is usually around 1:30, because I know that my hour from 3 to 6, that's my time. 2 to 6, sometimes 3 to 6 if I stay a little bit longer. And I only put things on that calendar if it's absolutely important, if I can fit it in. But that's my time. That I know that's my time. That's when I go back home. I'm either cooking dinner, I take my power nap, and then I'm back at it. And then I delegate my evening hour. If I want to get a meeting on the schedule, that's when I do a lot of my group sessions, like Mondays and Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
We have our Ladies of Leadership group. Sometimes we have our team meetings every other Tuesday. So it's like different things, but I have control over that. And I love that we're just so aligned. I didn't even know that. I know
I am a midday, and so a lot of times people, are you gonna go? I'm like, I can't show up, because that is like my downtime every once in a while. But like maybe once a week or twice a week, I can hop in on different things. But I have to recharge my battery in order to show up the way that I like to show up for people. And so
Wow.
a lot of people will ask, like, girl, when do you rest? Do you ever go to sleep? Because you be up early and late. I'm like, if they only knew, I sometimes, most times take like a 2 to 3 hour downtime. And I don't even necessarily have to go to sleep, but for like
Mhm.
15 minutes or 45 minutes, between that range, I just need to rest my mind
Like,
and my,
yeah,
and
just
my
close your
body in order
eyes.
to be able to make it. And give yourself permission, because I used to feel guilty. And I
Mm.
used to be like, oh my, and my mom had to remind me, she's like, you've been up since 4 o'clock this morning. You didn't go to bed until after midnight. So of course you're tired and it's okay. And I'm like, but I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. She's like, no, you need to rest. And I gave myself permission to rest. And you don't understand the stress that lifted off of me, to know that it is okay for me to take a nap. You're
Yeah.
not being lazy. You're not, oh, you could have been doing this. Well, it would have been halfway done. I wouldn't have been able to
Mhm.
show up the way I needed to show up. So you have to make sure that you are optimizing and showing up the best way that you can when you can. And then when you have that time to wind down, give yourself permission to rest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to go back to something that you talked about, and that was organized. That was your O in focus. But what I want you to do is I want you to declutter your space and declutter your mind with organization. Your
Yes.
external environment is a reflection
Hmm.
of your internal state. So, the 5 minute reset that I want to give you is spend 5 minutes at the end of each day just tidying up your workspace, kind of keeping it together so that there's something about a messy workspace that can totally throw off your day. Whether you have a desktop files and emails, clean all that out. When you can't find a document that don't even remember what you named it, and then you have papers all over, those can throw off your day. So I want you to take some time, just 5 minutes at the end of your day, to make sure you have everything in place so that when you're coming in the next day, you are ready to rock and roll. And then
Hmm.
I want you to also use the one touch rule. When a small task lands on your desk or your plate, your email, your messenger, and if you can do that within 2 minutes, get it done. Don't wait. If you have it at your fingertips, complete that task, mark it off, move on. There's so many things that can be done in an instant, less than even 2 minutes, and we kind of put it off, and then we tend to forget about it, and now we're like, oh crap, I could have did that. I remember it, but and I say that all the time. I tell um, if I'm having a conversation and I'm not really next to my calendar, or we book something, I say when I get home, I'm going to put it on my calendar, even though I can do a lot of stuff from my phone. But if I'm driving, all these other reasons why something doesn't get on your calendar. Because, like you said, Dr. Caroline, if it's not on my calendar, it's not getting done. It's like it never happened, right? But if you can finish it within 2 minutes or less, get it done as soon as you receive it, or delegate it within those 2 minutes and follow up, because that's huge.
Yeah.
You also want to create a priority dashboard, whether it's a physical whiteboard. I have a whiteboard right here where I put all my tasks. I have one in the studio on the other side. And you want to, or Trello boards. Trello boards is online. You can create tasks and things that you can move down a pipeline. And it also allows things on the back end that you can add, whether it's to send out an email, whether it's to send out a booking link or anything like that. And then you want to have something visually that you can see your weekly prioritizations, and you want to keep focus. I love that my notes have focus, and that was your acronym. And this, let me tell you, this was not planned. This was
Yeah,
not.
that's why I'm laughing. It's like, yes, it's almost like you just like sat here next to me. And a lot of people, I teach that big in my community. Every Sunday I do plantational Sunday. And
Mhm.
I'm like, guys, you do not understand how this system can actually help you. So to hear you talking about the exact, like the same things, and it's just total alignment and using those tools, that the same tools we were talking about, the same exact tools that can be used in that. And no, it's not pre-planned. We just have a topic and then we just show up with what we got. And I love how like week after week it just flows together, and that synergy. And I think that we have that audience that's out there that um, need to hear that message, that it's just not one community leader that's just pushing that, but that is like a thing that has to happen in order for you to be great in your business. And as you guys are going through your week, I want to challenge you to create that hourly schedule. You don't have to do it for the whole week. Even if in your routine, you wake up in the morning and create your hourly schedule, or before you go to bed at night, you create your hourly schedule for the next day. I want you for the next 90 days to commit to a routine of planning out your day. So, planning out your week on Sunday and planning out your day in the morning or every night before you go to bed. And when you start to do that, you're going to see a huge shift in your energy, your excitement, your focus. You won't be easily distracted, because whenever you don't have a plan, if it's not in front of you, people, things, and situation will knock you off your block real easy. And every day you will keep getting knocked off and knocked off and knocked off because you don't have a clear, concise plan. I go to it and I tell people, I pull it out. I pull out my planner. I have everything for my day, like right here. I open it up and it is hour by hour. And I know, even though it's on my phone, writing it reinforces it. It kind of makes it clear, like, hey, you not just put it on your Google Calendar, but it's coming back to your memory that this is the plan for the day. And many times, sometimes even overnight, I'll get a booking and I didn't see it. Earlier this week, and I may have mapped out my plan and think that, oh, I can work on this. But then when I look at my calendar and see that someone's books, it shifts my day. But instead of me, impromptu, like, oh my God, that came up, I didn't expect that. At least the night before or the morning of, I can sit down and get very clear about, this is what needs to happen, this is what I need to prepare, this is what needs to be executed on this day, as opposed to me just going into the day all willy-nilly and blind. And that happens to many of us. We're just like, just in the day. Like the day just came up and we're just here. We have no purpose. We have no plan. We just going about just routine. And the routine is not productive. And we need to reevaluate and change that now.
Yes, thank you so much for all your insights. And yeah, take that 90-day challenge. And we actually want you to come back here on this YouTube channel and tell us how it's going as often as you want. We want this to be just another tool in your toolkit to continue to be great, because you're already great. We just need to get organized and get focused and put everything in place and create that time management and productivity routine that is going to change the game for not just our business, but our day-to-day routine. Now we have a clear sense of what we're doing, how we're getting there, and where the destination is once everything is said and done. It's not just for a note-taking session, right? We want you to apply these things. This is why we developed this Be Great series, is because we want to bring all the goodies to you. If there's something, and if you have some great routines and tips, drop them in the chat as well. We would love to hear things that we may not know or what's going on. I'm sure it will serve many. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I am enjoying this series. Do you have the next topic for next week?
Oh, hold on one
Or
second.
next month, actually.
I
Yes,
think
I
I
should have had
did
that
have it.
available.
Oh, one second. I have access to it. Yeah. And so next month, our topic is going to be cultivating emotional intelligence. Ooh, the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership and strategies to help that self awareness and that empathy. Oh my goodness, that is like definitely a hot topic. Emotional
I'm
competency
excited.
is key to a successful business.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. And we're going to continue to bring these messages to you so that you continue to be great, that we continue to be great, because I just took some notes as well. This is
Me
also
too.
something learning for us as hosts. We take these notes, we take this very seriously, and I just adore and love everything that we're doing and what we're bringing to the space and building more leadership mindsets and get your business rocking and rolling and being great in 2025 and beyond. Any last words, Dr. Carolyn?
No, I'm just going to tell you, in order to be great, you have to get focused. Okay. You got to have that focus, and that is what's going to take you to the next level in your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us in another episode of Be Great with Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Your hosts, Nikki and Dr. Carolyn. Have a great day. And as I always say, make it count. Bye, everyone.